This is You've Already Been Hacked, recorded on
13 March 2026. Welcome back to You've Already Been Hacked. This week, even the turmoil in the Middle East has cyber written all over it. Cowboy, how you doing?
Fantastic, good sir. Happy to be here. Had a roller coaster of an up and down week, but it ended on a high note, so
Well, I've been on vacation.
can't
this
ask
past
for
week.
much more. I know, I'm a little jelly, but you'll have to do the show next week by yourself because then I will be on vacation. So
Ooh.
we will just take turns.
That's well, hey, I'm on vacation this week and I'm still here for the show. So I'm just saying, yeah. Just
going to
putting
be
that out.
in the digital ocean, and connectivity will be an issue.
I'm sure you could get a flyover bird to take care of your connectivity.
I have to call in all of my favors.
Just get some Elon time. I'm sure that'll be fine.
Yeah,
All right.
I'll shoot him a text.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's get right into it. All right, Stryker suffers a global outage after the Iran-linked hack, a sophisticated ransomware style intrusion claimed by the pro-Iranian Handala group disabled Stryker's entire global infrastructure. The attackers wiped the firmware on all remotely managed medical devices, forced a company wide reboot, and halted production lines worldwide. The breach came just weeks after a separate attack on a girls' school in Iran, suggesting a broader campaign against U.S. health tech. Stryker's executives confirmed a complete outage that impacted patient care equipment in hospitals across 5 continents. This matters because this is the first large-scale destructive cyber attack on U.S. medical device manufacturers since the start of the Iran war. Well, it's not technically a war, but, whatever, everybody. Demonstrating that critical healthcare infrastructure is a viable target for nation-state actors. The incident underscores the growing threat of remote device ransomware and the need for secure supply chain practices in the medical tech sector. Hospitals relying on Stryker equipment faced immediate patient care disruptions, showing how cyber attacks can have life or death consequences. What could or should you be doing if this is something you're concerned with right now? We'll audit remote device firmware, verify that all over-the-air update mechanisms are enforce signed, integrity-checked binaries, implement zero trust across your controls, rapid deployment and recovery, keep offline backups of device configurations if possible, and maintain a robust incident response playbook that includes coordinated decommissioning and recommissioning procedures. And then stay informed on a little bit of threat intel. Subscribe to advisories from NIST Cybersecurity's framework and CISA for emerging device-based threats. And like, share, and subscribe to this podcast if you want to stay up to date on what's going on. Cowboy?
I do love me some threat intel. So, so for those that don't know, wiper style cyber attacks is an Iranian go-to over the years. You may remember back in 2012, they hit Saudi Aramco, a major oil company, and basically was erasing databases on computer networks. Very similar to the Acid Rain wiper malware that targeted ELF binary systems and MIPS architecture when the Ukraine special, whatever the stupid thing Putin's calling it, right? Where they went in and wiped the, the things, the satellite modems.
There you go.
Jeez. There we go. Come on, brain. The Viasat outage was caused by that. So, wiper malware is dangerous, but we don't have a lot, thankfully, of examples of the kinetic effect from a cyber attack, right? Traditionally known as non-kinetic, right? You can break and destroy things with cyber. And I think that gets lost a lot on the common person. And this is a big example of really what could happen, right? Like, this was remote medical devices, right? It hit what? All of it? A company-wide reboot?
Yeah,
Like, that
company-wide reboot.
is major impact from a hacktivist group linked to the Iran's Ministry of Intelligence and Security, or MOIS, if you do any deep research about Iran and their government. So um, they have a lot of stuff they've been doing over the years, but that's a big hit and should be a wake up call for some folks.
A wake up call for everybody, I think, at this point. I mean, medical devices getting hit are that's just crazy. I don't want to call it Cyber Pearl Harbor because it's not for me to say that, but pacemakers, think about that for a second. Over the air, just people dropping dead. That's something that could be absolutely possible. It's a little troubling, honestly. A little troubling. I don't have one. Don't worry. Professor's not going anywhere anytime soon. Cowboy's not going anywhere anytime soon. But still, this is just one example of this. And if they're doing it now, it is viable. It is a today threat. It is not something theoretical anymore. It's not just something you're going to see at a DEF CON speaker's talk, right? This is happening now. So yeah, definitely, I would be very concerned about this sort of stuff moving forward because who knows what the next potential target could be. Not for doom and gloom purposes, but yeah, it's just a wide open field. Okay, what do we got next? We got China CERT warns about OpenClaw's security risks. The National Computer Emergency Response Team, or CERT, for China issued a public warning that OpenClaw AI agents capable of executing user prompts autonomously can delete data, expose cryptologic keys, and load malicious payloads. The tool for OpenClaw, which has gone through several name changes at this point, if you've been following this at all, was released in late 2025 and is marketed as a productivity assistant, to put it lightly. But its unchecked autonomy makes it a potential vector for both accidental data loss and malicious compromise. This matters because OpenClaw illustrates the growing danger of agentic AI systems that can act beyond a direct control of the user. Insecure AI agents threaten data confidentiality, integrity, and availability across your corporate networks and government networks. Even China's CERT issuing a warning signals how serious nation states take these risks posed by autonomous AI tools. Well, I'm going to get on my soapbox here probably in a minute. What should you do about all this? Well, avoid deploying unverified agentic AI. Only use tools vetted through your organization's security review process. Enforce strict sandboxing. Review any AI agent in isolated VMs with no privileged network access. Audit prompts and outputs. Implement content moderation pipelines and review any data the agent has access to or modifies. And educate users. Please, for the love of everything technical, educate your users, train your staff on the risks of trusting the machine, and establishing clear policies for AI-driven decision-making. This,
Here, let me
well,
drag it
I'm not.
over for you.
Hold on,
Okay.
hold on. I'm not. I'm going to try to be nice. I think it was last week I got on my soapbox, right? That was
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not going to get there again. If you want to hear Professor get real mad, real hot about agentic AI agents and how the majority of people are just not ready for them, go listen to last week's podcast. I think that China CERT is right on the money with this warning. I think that people are racing to do this. Companies are going to race to do it as soon as they realize, wait, I can actually just have an autonomous AI that's not just a chatbot that can do all this shit. I can fire, half my workforce instantly and just have these running in a rack. Let's go. Yeah, not a good idea, folks. Not a good idea at all. I have an AI agent. I am using OpenClaw. I am using it in a bifurcated sort of way, not running on my main system. And I am slowly, deliberately, like I said last week, giving it more ability, one step at a time, testing, verifying, correcting, doing all the stuff in a very deliberate way, as opposed to setting up my skills, fire, forget, and go, which I would bet most people are doing. They're saying, I've been successful doing this. No, you've just turned it on. You don't know what successful looks like yet. because
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead,
Oh, go
please.
ahead.
I'll step off my box.
And I know we beat this one already, right? And you know it's bad if China's CERT is putting out a massive warning like this, right? Because normally they would just look to take advantage. Um, and I going on that, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, like the average user, right? They don't know, and this goes back to our verbal dressing down of these so-called experts
Yeah.
and non-experts who are telling people to download these and give them access to everything is just pure insanity, and people need to like knock the crap off, right? Like like stop. And then going back to people who know better, the big business, I mean, you said a scary thought, right? Let's fire everyone and just have agentic AI doing things. Like that sounds like a terrible idea,
You know
and why
what?
would it even enter your brain?
I'll say this, and it terrifies me to say it, but I believe it's within the realm of the real reality possible, right? 2 to 5 years, yeah. In 2 to 5 years, I think that agentic AIs have a real potential to be a massive, massive workforce disruptor. Massive. Um, like anything, I saw it said recently that anything with a screen, any job that revolves around a human looking at a screen is potentially going to be disrupted. I fully believe that at this point. Not today, not yet, but we're getting there, and it is happening a lot faster. Because I tell you what, I spend a I spend a little bit of my time now working with my AI agent, and like I said, I'm testing it to make it do the things I want it to do. I still believe right now I am spending less time getting the agent to do a big chunk of the work, and I'm correcting it or tweaking it, as opposed to me having to do a bunch of the work that I would be having the agent do. And right there, that's quote unquote a disruptor, right?
Yeah.
At least it is for me, and that's a multiplier of my ability to get some more things done. Companies are going to jump all over this, and they're going to have evangelists and people gunning for promotion and everything else, saying it's time, let's do this, and they're going to fire people, and it's going to backfire horribly.
Well, worse than just that, right? I mean, spot on with those remarks. But now, couple the fact that imagine if a company, no, more than that, like 50 companies, major companies, just downloaded the AI agent as is today and gave it its job title and access to everything and said, go. You want to talk about unwitting, unwitting insider threat? Now you have all these AI agents who have access to everything and are just going off the rails with no oversight.
Yeah,
The damage that could be done there is I'm not even sure if I can wrap my head around it to to smartly speak to it, right? Because eh,
yeah, yeah,
that's yeah. Oh,
yeah.
oh,
Eh,
shuddering over
uh,
here.
I I'm look. I am pro agentic AI. I am. I think that as much as the idea of workplace disruption is kind of terrifying, I think across the board, and if you are in our industry, you should be highly scared. If you are starting out in the industry, you should be highly scared. I'm not trying to doom and gloom it, but I really think that these are real possibilities that are going to be racing sooner than later. But yeah, I think that today, anyone that's trying to make a full transition today, you are making a terrible and catastrophic mistake. You should be on board. And believe me, that train has left the station. Pandora's box has been opened, whatever you want to call it. It's going to happen. It's not an if, it's a when. And for those that are saying, well, we can just legislate it out, welcome to
Yeah,
open source.
yeah.
That's just never going to happen at this point.
Hmm.
Right. So I you need to be on board, you need to be competent, you need to be learning. If you aren't learning today, you need to be learning fast and get caught up and start playing with this stuff in a safe way, sandboxed. I saw something recently this past week that was prompt engineering is really not the thing it's going to need that everyone thought it was going to be, because we're kind of moving past that already, which is kind of scary. it's context engineering that's going to be the thing, because you're going to be working with agents that are going to be responsible for a lot of different pieces of information trying to make stuff work. That's going to be where a lot of expertise and a lot of time and effort on the human part is going to need to be, and I think that that's spot on. I think that this type of warning is right. I wish the U.S. CERT would be doing that. I wish CISA would be putting out warnings left and right. I haven't seen many that I can recall right now, but yeah, that's as far as I'm going to get on soapbox. I'm trying not to, blood pressure and all. Don't want
I
to
know.
pop a valve. All right,
Yeah.
all right. Let's move on. All right, 1 billion record identity leak. An unnamed data service provider disclosed a breach that exposed roughly 1 billion identity records spanning 26 countries. The leak includes full names, addresses, dates of birth, national ID numbers, and in many cases, financial account details. Preliminary investigators suggest the compromise resulted from a misconfigured cloud storage bucket and insufficient encryption.
Basics, people, basics.
The scale of this breach is why it matters. It is unprecedented, threatening millions of individuals worldwide. It highlights the critical need for end-to-end encryption, strict access controls, and rigorous cloud security hygiene, especially for identity management platforms. A breach of this magnitude will fuel identity theft and fraud for years to come. So I guess we're all getting a little bit more of free credit monitoring, because that's such a wonderful thing to have. Not that it's not important or good, but is it really it's not solving anything. What
And you could
good
you could put in for your $3.87,
damages? Yeah,
package damages to make up for it. Yeah.
yeah. Review your cloud buckets and ensure all storage containers are private and encrypted with access governed by the least privilege IMA models. And that's if you're a corporation. If you're a user, that's not for you. Deploy data loss prevention tools, automatically detect and block exfiltration of personally identifiable information, implement continuous monitoring, and once again, educate your peoples. Cowboy?
Yeah, so a little bit more information. Allegedly, they're tying it to ID Merit, a company that helps businesses confirm identities, right? It was part of an exposed MongoDB database,
Mhm.
which was not protected by a password. Anyone who could find it could access it. And it had all the information that you read, and your ID Merit uses AI tools to perform the know your customer function, which is part of this identity verification process when you open financial accounts. And what, right? Like, this is pure insanity. Like, honestly, I'm not big on just going right to firing people. Like, people make mistakes. You know what I mean? Educate them, get them training. All that stuff. Like that's sorry. That's do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Like, you cannot leave a database that holds that type of information not password protected. That is basic 101 nonsense that I can't believe happened. But every time I teach this stuff, I always go like, why do we bring this up? Because it still happens. Because admins still leave passwords in a open Word document on their desktop, right? Like, just stupid, lazy stuff that results in this. And we said it last week, right? Attackers just got to be right once.
Yep. They didn't have to be right this time. They just had to be lucky.
Oh,
They just had to come
this
across
this,
it.
this is what gets my blood going. Like, the other stuff is scary, but this is like, it's such a basic thing. Like, ridiculous. And it puts all of us at risk, you know what I mean? Everybody.
Yeah,
And it's like,
this is basically everybody, apparently.
oh my God. What is happening?
No password on a database. Like
No pass.
I mean, that's great for testing, right? I'm cool with that. I guess they just pushed it to production and didn't realize, oh wait, we need to actually like secure this. That's the only way I can think that happened. It worked in testing. Let's push to production. That is what I think happened in that workflow.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I've been working on something for work, and I've told you this before for our day jobs, where I started off using an SQLite 3 database, which is great for testing, right? It's flat file, quick, simple. Migrating it to a post GRE SQL database, oh my God, was so painful, but worth it because I was able to then do encryption properly and multi-user and all that sort of fun jazz. But yeah, I mean, you have to do it right, people. You just can't just fire and forget. Like, I know we're under time crunches. I get it. I get it. But you got to this, you just impacted how many millions of people because your boss was up your ass. It's no good.
Mm-hmm.
That's no good. And to the boss that was probably up their ass for meeting a deadline, shame on you too. You should know better.
Yep. This is part your fault.
This is partly your fault. Okay, our next story, and this is something related to my old stomping grounds. U.S. National Cyber Strategy 2026 AI-driven security pillars. My old stomping grounds at the White House, 2026 cyber strategy has been released, and it positions artificial intelligence as the cornerstone of national cyber defense. It calls for the development of AI-powered threat detection, automated incident response, and resilient AI governance frameworks. The strategy also outlines a Zero Trust 4.0 model. I don't know about that yet, Cowboy. I'd have to look into that if you don't. And mandates federal agencies to adopt AI-enabled security orchestration. This matters because it marks a paradigm shift in national security policy for the United States, acknowledging that human-driven defense is no longer sufficient against rapidly evolving adversaries. It sets the regulatory and funding agenda for the entire cybersecurity ecosystem, forcing organizations to align with new standards or face compliance issues. What can or should you be doing about this right now? Well, invest in AI security tooling. Evaluate platforms offering autonomous anomaly detection and predictive threat hunting and automated playbooks. Align with the Zero Trust. Re-architect your networks to enforce continuous verification and micro-segmentation. Stay compliant with AI governance. Adopt transparent model audit trails, bias mitigations, and privacy safeguards required by the strategy. Collaborate with the government. Participate in public-private partnership programs, testing and refining AI-driven cyber defense solutions. Cowboy?
You didn't hear me do a really big sigh right there. It's because I got to be real careful how I talk about this because there's a lot of good and a lot of bad in my opinion. So here's the thing, like um, uh, Zero Trust 4.0 is basically saying like, hey, once you've got Zero Trust in, like let's take it all to the next level, right? It's moving to dynamic, identity centric, data centric security models, right? Mostly because of the evolving landscape. The problem is hardly anybody even has basic zero trust up and running, right? So to go to Zero Trust 4.0, like who knows how long it's going to take most people to get there. Um, uh, it's trying to push things to the next level, but as we've said multiple times, like all this is doing is making businesses say we have AI in everything we do, right? Which half the time is smoke and mirrors, right? So, and hey, in the document they're even pushing agentic AI, which is
Yeah.
like,
Well,
right,
again, fine, right? I think it's okay for a strategy document like this to start pushing for it because the funding lines have to move to align to it. I'm okay with that, right? I'm okay with that at a national level. Like we should be moving. If they want to move to have agentic AI, that's fine. But that funding has to include training, protection, bifurcation, all the things. It can't just be go buy an agentic AI system from provider du jour and have fun with it. Like that's a no-no.
I don't think they have what needs to be in there around that. But what I do like is they call for some unified visibility across IT and OT environments, which huge. Like we've said it, Dragos, the one and only company that really gets after OT environments. Like, yeah, that is the critical infrastructure, right? Like, again, Zero Trust 4.0, great. You look at OMB Memo 2131 that came out, I believe, under Biden's administration, which was really just a very long-winded document that said, log your stuff and keep your logs accessible. And there are not many government agencies that are even able to say they are in full
Well,
compliance with that
that's
document.
100% true. Yeah.
And that's 6 years ago that came out, right? So, okay, uh, great vision, but yeah, like you kind of said, like the funding, the push, the mandating, whatever is still lapsing, which is typical in government anyway. I got it, but um, we'll see, I guess. And I better go. I've said I'm far too dangerous within zero trust, and I have my little certification, but I guess I better go get after 4.0, or do I?
Well, maybe you should just start getting after 4.5 or 5.0 at this point to get ahead of the
Just
curve.
make my own.
In our
I'll do it in
last
all my spare time.
Yeah, that's right. In our last story, Anthropic's new Institute for AI Risk Research. Anthropic's PBC announced the creation of the Anthropic Institute, a dedicated it sounds like something out of Fallout, honestly. A
Yes.
dedicated research arm focused on the societal and security risks of large language models and agentic AI systems. The institute will consolidate existing safety teams, foster interdisciplinary collaboration, and publish open source risk mitigation frameworks. All good. This matters because as agentic AI becomes mainstream, coordinated research into alignment, adversarial robustness, and governance is essential. Anthropic's initiatives signal a broader industry movement towards systemic, evidence based safety practices that will shape how AI security standards evolve. I am for this. What should you do? Engage with emerging AI risk literature, integrate findings from institutes like what Anthropic is setting up, and add this to your threat modeling and your compliance processes. Adopt best practice guidelines, apply validated mitigation techniques for prompt injection, data poisoning, and model misuse. Support transparent AI. Well, Anthropic needs to listen to themselves on that since their models have been used for cyber exploitation operations, whether they meant it to or not. Support transparent AI audits and require regular external audits of your AI systems to validate alignment claims. And finally, participate in standards bodies. Contribute to the development of industry wide AI security standards, such as ISO IEC 42001. Cowboy?
It's almost like Anthropic maybe has been listening to our podcast, and hey, if you have, we're open to sponsorship. So just throwing
Great.
that out there. So something cool about this is one, with you, like, yes, finally someone's just like, hey, we need to do this, and we're going to do this, and it's they're not going to profit from that, right? It's a should have, and they are, and it consists of three teams. So you've got their Frontier Red team, which is the AI related cybersecurity risks. There's also a second team, which is their societal impact team, which
Cowboy, you there?
analyzes data on how users interact with their agentic AI. And then a third one is an economic research branch, which looks at the economic impacts of AI. So, such as automating business activities and firing all their work staff. How does that impact the economy? Uh, Bad for people, good for the business, I guess. But cool to see that they're going beyond just the cybersecurity aspect, and they're just trying to understand fully like the major impacts that are coming, and not just from data leakage, but on people and on society and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm very happy to see Anthropic, who's definitely, anyone that's listening to this podcast that's done anything with AI knows that they are one of the frontier models right now that's out there, at least from the United States perspective. It's good that they're deciding to do this. They have definitely had some bumps in the road with regard to how their models have been used. They have currently had a spat, we'll say, being very judicious there with the U.S. government over what their uh, AI systems can or cannot be used for, and they're going to have to weather that current environment with what's going on there and some of the declarations made. But the fact that they're setting up something like this that should help really set a tone, one would hope, in this emerging industry, or I wouldn't even say emerging anymore, in this large segment of global business. I think that might be a better way to say it. Yeah, I think is a really good thing, and I hope that people read it, digest it, and add in what makes sense for their environment with it. Yeah. Okay, Cowboy, what else you got for us tonight?
Yeah, well, going back to our first story, this wasn't just a software update. It was a digital lobotomy for every connected medical device. I'm Cyber Cowboy. Stay frosty, everybody.
And I'm the professor of CyberRisk, stepping off of my soapbox. That's all the news for this week, and we'll talk again soon.
If you like this podcast, share it with your colleagues and friends. Your support is how we are able to continue to make this content. Thank you.